Greetings, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. This is Juxtaluxor. I'm going to be doing a book review on this book that just came out called the Illuminatium. The First Testament of the Illuminati. This book was brought to my attention, rather, by the student of my psychological models, Patrick John Coleman, who is a psychic medium living in Chicago. This is an interesting book, pretty fascinating. There are some curious statements in it, and I know a little bit about the Illuminati and the origins of the Illuminati, which a lot of people don't know. Every global world power at one time had these math cults, back even before Pythagoras. And to teach somebody math or science was considered one of the highest things that you could do, but they wanted to be certain that it would not be used for evil purposes or for egotistical purposes. So to be taught these sciences of building civilizations, you were ushered into a secret society, and you had to prepare yourself constantly and humble yourself constantly and purify yourself and be tested psychologically to make sure that you were worthy of these secrets. Now, this was originally in Babylon, India, and Persia, and eventually found its way to the United States. Now, based on my research, being a philologist and a linguistic philosopher and a historian, I have traced these secret societies back to Pythagoras, who brought the guru principle, the guru tradition, to Greece and to the West in its purest form, in its purest uncorrupted form. He influenced all of the early Greek philosophers, including Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and they all thought that he had magical abilities which were not common or normal for a human being. And he created the Western philosophy of music. And a lot of people don't know this, but the Pythagoreans basically absorbed the Bacchic and Orphic cults and mysteries, because those were also secret societies. They were a form of theater and poetry. Now, if you think about what Pythagoras did, you have to realize that the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians trace their origins back to the Pythagorean math cults. Now, if you contemplate the Star of David, which is similar, and the essence of the Freemasonic symbol, the two arches, what this means is it's a reference to the audio and the visual, which means the music and the actors or the theater. Now, this is based on a principle that's actually found in the Bible, in which I can't remember. I think it was Jacob or whoever it was that worked for Laban was told that he would be given all of the goats that were spotted. So what he did was he put up posts where the goats could see them that had spots on them. And what happened is that eventually he ended up owning all of the goats, because the goats started having spots because they saw spots. Now, this goes back to this ancient philosophy that if you can control what people see and what they hear, you can control what they think, do, and say. Now, I'm going to read you a quote from this book. It says, "In fact, we are so certain of our influence over your mind and the media we have bombarded it with since before your conception that we haven't the slightest fear of you doing something about anything you read within its pages." Now, what's interesting about this is that one of my theories on neuromyelination being passed down to our children through epigenetics means that every pattern that our ancestors created or made created neuromyelination that was passed down to us, which means that it would be easier for us to repeat those patterns, and we would be predisposed to repeat those patterns. So if you have a group of people that exerted an influence on themselves to be moral, then their descendants will be more inclined to be moral. So this statement in the book rings true to me from my personal perspective. Now they talk about an island that has an underground base, which is a hot topic right now because they're talking about, the hollow earth theory and there being aliens living inside the earth in well-established bunkers. So what's interesting about this is it says that in the Atlantic Ocean is an island that does not appear on any map and never will. It has no official name. Those who have visited it call it the Isle. I don't know if it's commonly known, but I know it. The Atlantic Ocean is actually named after Atlantis. It is of marked interest to Patrick John Coleman and myself that this book would come out right now at this particular moment in time, after I, writing as under the pen name Rabbi Balshiva, have started basically giving away the secrets of the Illuminati and exposing, in a way, who they are, or at least who claims to be Illuminati and who claims to think that they are Illuminati. Of further interest, this is another quote from the book: "The invention of email is no coincidence, nor is the new popularity of text messaging and social media. Their widespread use is the result of a complex operation authorized by the Illuminati to aid in the surveillance of the citizens we govern." Now, the reason that this is interesting to me and rings true is that I recently came up with this concept of the Ubernet, or the Overnet, which is an internet above our internet that allows them to observe everything that happens below them, quickly and easily monitoring it, etc., reading essentially everything. It says, "Plans between anarchists and genocidal murderers cannot be prevented if our associates are not alerted to their creation, leaving citizens open to harm from those who seek depopulation of the planet for their own gain." This is interesting if you consider or ponder the concept of the deep web. Now, it was interesting because one of the things that I said about, 6 months ago, maybe longer, maybe 9 months ago, was I did a Photoshop of myself in which I Photoshopped one of the bots from the Matrix behind myself, the spidery things with the claws and the multiple spider eyes. And I Photoshopped it so it said, "They created the bots to control and manipulate human behavior, but they never conceived of the one that could manipulate the bots." Now, the reason that I wrote this was because after my experiences on Facebook, where Facebook essentially was constantly trying to control and manipulate people by controlling what they were allowed to see, which was very irritating to me. I was raised Jehovah's Witness, so I was constantly subjected to various forms of mind control or mind influence or hypnotism through repetition and emotional abuse, psychological abuse, etc., etc., etc. Now, my mind is of the nature that any effort to influence my mind pisses me off. It makes me angry. I only recognize the authority of reason, and I want things to be spoken to me in a clear and forthright manner, and I will evaluate them, and I'm not going to change any of my ideas or behavior unless somebody demonstrates superior reason. I don't like to be manipulated. So I started this concept, this campaign, which I called Troll the World. And I basically decided that anybody who was doing anything in the world that I didn't like, I was going to respond in kind and kind of shame them or humiliate them or ridicule them or troll them. And this has actually been a very successful campaign. I have several advocates. We've actually changed policy on a lot of things. We've changed public perception. We've changed the perception of certain public individuals and groups of individuals that are public. for the better of mankind. I'm going to have to stop this here because I'm trying to keep my podcast under 10 minutes. Thank you for your attention. Be sure to tune in for the next section.